everything. Who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence, then let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, I to stay on the go. I can play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me, then I double up again under their nose. None of them cold, they just got lucky but never adapted, so I'm to the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close, I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke, I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything.
We're doing all that because it's ridiculous. Oh, Guy Ramsey in the chat says, keep doing great things, y'all. Appreciate you, Guy, already in the chat telling us do great things. We love you, man. By the way, I saw you put out a new highlight teaser for Pharaoh, your next rap battle, so I have to let you look at that. I got a notification. I didn't see it yet, but I got to peep it.
Yeah, post your shit in that wall thing. I've seen you post a couple times. Just keep doing that. You know, anything that you're doing also, too. Post that in there, Guy. Like to hear from you. And Baltimore still sucks.
Oh, tell him, Coach.
We're going for it. And another thing I seen watching the football, I said, yo, Cam Newton bet on his fucking self. And I love it. Because he went out there and he showed what the fuck he could do. Even though they lost, I think they should have called a different play call down there. Mm-hmm. And they played it perfection, the Seahawks did, by blowing up the fullback. And Cam couldn't bounce outside. He just had to go with it. But he showed his ass yesterday. He showed that you're going to have to pay this man next year. All he has to do is stay healthy. One thing I do hate about it is, though, they're rushing him way too much out of that power stuff. And I think that's what's going to cause him some problems down the line if somebody gets a hold of him real quick. Like I always say about running quarterbacks, I don't think it's ever good. Like, people always say, well, look at Mike Vick. Mike Vick was not running design runs. Mike Vick was dropping back the pass, and then nothing was there, and he would just take the fuck off and do what he did.
Kind of like Kyler Murray's been doing.
Yes, Kyler's been doing great, too. That's my sleeper team that I picked this year. I wanted to pick it last year, but I picked the bum-ass Raiders. I'm throwing shots, baby. You got these nuts. I'm throwing shots at you. Yeah. But no, I'm just proud of Cam, man, that he gambled on himself. He had offers to go to other places and got money, and he chose to go to that system because he thinks that will be the best place for him to go. And I commend him for doing, betting on yourself, man. Betting on your fucking self, man.
It actually makes me like the Patriots a little bit just because of the whole Cam Newton storyline. I actually like them as a team, as an organization. I mean, I hated them back. I don't know why. I just hated them when they had Tom Brady, I guess. I don't know. But Guy says it's going to be a crazy one. He put the fire emojis for his rap battle. And then Justin came up in the chat and said, "What's up, guys?" What's up, Justin? Long time no see, it feels like.
He was here last week talking shit.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it feels like it's been a long time. That's what I mean. I mean, he was here for a little bit, Justin's always up in here. He's always for the cause. We love Justin, He's always in here in the chat talking with us.
I guess we can get that out of the way before we get into the long thing. I guess that brings like I just said about Cam being offered contracts and he took the less money. It's incentive based. So if he does what he has to do, he's still making way less than he's worth. Mm-hmm. But contract, like he bet on himself. He gambled on himself. He knows his IP. His play is his IP, and he ain't giving it away without the right price, and he just gambled on himself. So that kind of brings me to what I seen this weekend. Kanye must be on his meds again because he
actually good with his meds.
Yeah, he actually said something that it's been a long time since he's opened his mouth that I wasn't like, oh my, what's that emoji where you put your hand over your face? Since I did this, oh my God, Kanye, what the hell are you talking about?
Like the
right?
rubbing the eyes, like, oh, Kanye, no, don't say it. Don't say it,
So,
Kanye.
and I think it's a more or less lesson because we're going down the line. We're building businesses. We're good. We're looking for a place to make for bridging the gap to make money. So we're gonna have to enter into some contracts. And I don't think people understand. Kanye showed his contracts, and you would think Kanye, who he is at this point in his life, he's a billionaire, multi-billionaire at this point, that he would own his masters. And he doesn't. He doesn't own his masters, and that is crazy to me.
Is that why he pissed on his Grammy?
Yeah, he pissed on his Grammy. That shit was funny as shit. I think his meds started to wear off then, and he just threw his Grammy, and they're like, "I'm gonna piss on it."
I'm gonna piss on this Grammy. I'll show you my contracts, and I'm gonna piss on my Grammy just to make sure you guys don't think I have it all together still.
Right. So the thing of it is, like, guys, like anybody that's like you enter into contracts, always make sure that you are in control of what you're doing. It's not what you think you're worth. Like I always say this to people too. It's not what you think you're worth. It's what you negotiate, or what they think you're worth. It's what you negotiate. So don't be so quick to give away your IP, like your music and all that, because that's leverage. If you own that and you build that into something that's worth something, you can use that to get money from other areas to build things, other things you want to use. That's your intellectual property. Now, in saying that, again, Kanye signed these things over and over just to get money up front. You know what I mean? They're giving him like 5 million, 9 million. They gave him 12 for, I think, his last deal. You know what I mean? But now he's understanding, oh my God, they're using the companies that own your masters, your IP, whatever it is, your podcast or whatever, they use that as leverage for them to get money. You know what I mean? So what's happening now, the movement that's happening now, is that own your own shit. Be your own shit so you can negotiate. Work your ass up off front. Maybe still have to eat some fucking bologna sandwiches and ramen noodles. You know what I mean? But if you own that shit, when you get it to believe in yourself, just like I said about Cam, believe in your fucking self, bet on yourself, because if you know what you can do and you get it to that point, now you can really make some money. Because musicians don't make money, bro. Especially now.
Well, I was gonna ask you. I mean, do you think there's ever a good circumstance to sign a contract, and take that lesser amount? Because, like, I mean, I get it. Like, I totally own the philosophy of betting on yourself, and you'll if you wait a little longer, you can hold out for a better deal. Like, I genuinely believe that. But I mean, do you ever think there's a scenario where it's actually more cost effective, I guess, to take that deal right away, especially if, say, like, you're an artist and you need exposure and they can get you that, because the truth is maybe the market you're in, you're not going to get it without these people getting you a lane, giving you a lane out. I mean, because like you said, like Kanye, I mean, he's a multi-billionaire, but do you think the deals that he signed, even though at the time and now with his masters are trash, but it still helped him get in that position to win? Like, do you think those are worth more? And also, before you answer that, I did want to say that Kyle Miller said that Kanye just don't give a fuck, and that Justin Gower said that Paul McCartney regrets not owning the rights to their music.
Yeah, Michael Jackson bought them. Michael Jackson owned them, and they sold them for like $750 million. His estate sold them. I don't know who he sold them to. And that's a key thing, though. You're right. There is some positions, but what I'm saying is, like, make sure that, like, build your shit, build your IP, so when because a music deal, we'll just use the music industry, it's just a loan.
Right.
That's all it is. They're giving you a loan, and then all those things you're going to get to, you got to recoup. Now, Kanye still owes money. He owes money to these people. Yeah, he owes money to these companies, Universal and Def Jam and all that, because you can't recoup. The contracts are set up so you can't recoup. So they owe the money. Only a select few people own their shit. I would say, if I'm doing a deal, like I always say, I don't want to work for nobody. I'm working with you. I don't want you to work with me. I want, you know what I mean? Unless I have an assistant or some employees.
Right, yeah.
But I'm going to build them to be leaders. But like a 50-50 deal, like we can't make decisions without each other when we sit down and sign papers. So
Right.
that's a good deal to be into because we can say, hey, I don't like this. Like you might catch something in a contract that I don't. You know what I mean? Or your lawyer might catch something my lawyer doesn't catch, or something like that. And we could go back and say, hey man, what about this? And we can negotiate the best deal for us.
Yeah,
So
right. As a
I
collective.
I do believe that a lot of people, I think they just didn't know. Do you know in a music contract, um, if it has a capital D in a lower D, it means two different things. Like it has two different definitions.
What
Like
does
if
it
it
mean?
said,
Like kind of
yeah,
like how the word God, if you put God with like a lowercase g and a capital G, they mean like different things, you know. So what does that mean though? But I mean, what is the difference? What's the
they
definitional
never
difference?
said what it is. They
Mm,
just said it. They just came out and said it one day.
mm.
And these are people that have been in contracts all their life. Like, you know what I mean? They've been in these doing these contracts, getting this money, and then saying, "Wait a minute, I don't even own my shit." When I want to call up, like he has to call somebody to say, "Hey,
Can I get my song?
yeah, I'm sending my song to this movie to use," and they'll be like, "No, you're not. We don't
Mm.
want it in that movie." You know what I mean? We will control that deal. You know what I mean? And that's I think the most that I get out of it is just make sure you know what you're signing. Just don't sign anything because you're happy to be sitting at a table or something like that. Take time to do that shit. Get the proper lawyers, representation, and pay them to make sure that you're doing what you're doing. My best thing is, like I always say, hey man, whoever you grow up, if they're hungry, you might have two or three people around you that are doing things like, you know what I mean? If one's going to law school, that's my fucking lawyer. You know what I mean?
Right,
That's
yeah.
my lawyer.
The guy
That's
you
my
grew up
guy.
with.
Yeah, that type thing. So I just find it very interesting because nobody really broke it down. Like, even though his shit was batshit crazy, but nobody really put it out there like that, how jerky that business is.
Yeah,
So
we're just throwing out that information, those numbers, because I think finances is like something people just don't like talking about in general because it makes them feel like all insecure and whatnot. And Melvin said if your talent doesn't reach a certain threshold, then yes, it's beneficial for an artist to have a deal. And I don't know if that means like he's saying if their talent isn't, if they're not that talented, but they can still make money. I'm trying to think of like a artist who I would like, you know, because there's like rap artists that I know that like lyrically they're not very talented, and you know like they're kind of like who's that guy, the Rosie guy from the Ooh La La song, remember from Erie that we had on here on the show before? Like the
oh
song
yeah,
was a
yeah.
freaking bop, you know, but like I wouldn't say like lyrically like he was like very talented and he signed a record with Atlanta, so or signed a deal with
And
Atlanta. So like, is that beneficial? Like, I don't know. Only time will tell, I guess. It's like an investment on yourself. So, um,
it just depends on what it is. Like somebody like DMX. Um, DMX did something nobody else did, so went platinum twice in 1 year,
mhm,
right? He ended up $40 million in the bank. He ended up owing Def Jam $7 million, and Jay Z forgave it.
mhm.
I don't know what he did. He got him out of it, whatever. I think they wrote it off or whatever, and just let him out of his contract so he could do what he needed to do to make money. So just think of it like that. Is it beneficial for some people? Yes. Is it a bullshit game?
Mhm.
Yes. They're not, your best interests is not at heart. So when you get a contract in front of you, no matter what it is, you know what I mean? Make sure you get the proper representation to read it. Don't, there's different wordings. I mean, a contract was like fucking this thick, bro. You got to
Yeah,
read through that, and you're not going to do that. So get somebody that you trust to do it.
right. Speaking of self-investment, so you know we are going to be talking a bit heavily about the Netflix film The Social Dilemma, which you know I'm glad you put me on to because it was like an eye-opening experience. Like I don't know why I was almost brought to tears watching the ending of that documentary. But I made an investment in myself today. I went and I got the Flipped app for my phone to limit the amount of time I could be on my phone.
Oh, so you
So
only got certain times.
exactly. So I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, oh God, like what's a realistic number and all that? Because I find, you know, I mean, it's true. Like you hear a little ding and then you're looking. And then maybe, and like if it's been too long since you heard a ding, you click your phone
You're
on.
looking
And
like, is
then,
this working?
yeah. And then what'll happen is that they know you're looking at your phone and they'll
Hmm.
send you a notification for some bullshit. Like Google just sent me a security update. You know, my YouTube just sent me a thing for a video said suggested, recommended, watch this. all these different things that I could be bothered with, but I'll go and check them out. And what it'll do is it'll keep me from being productive. And I mean, we could talk. Let's first start off by saying about the film, The Social Dilemma. So there's a documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. It talks a lot about the issues of social media and how it affects not just us as like ethically as people, which we did have what's his name on the show, Josh, who gave a presentation about Google and its ethics. And he was here on the show talking to us about that. But regardless, what does it say? Justin Gower, Pornhub viewing numbers are going to drop for you, Dev. Well, absolutely not. I'm just going to go ahead and change the time on it. That's all.
He factored that time in.
Yeah, I already put that time in there. You know, you underestimate. It only takes 2 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. But all seriousness, the film deals with a lot of these issues, and like it brought a lot of. Even though me and Coach, I feel like, have been way ahead of the curve on this, like this film, because we've already talked about these issues at length, it did like give me a little bit of like, added some more questions to my plate, I guess, and made me really start to think about my social media and take more seriously, because I've already taken that step, as I've talked about on the past couple of shows, that I haven't been posting all the political stuff I used to post on Facebook, and I saw that Justin Gower said he's taking a break from politics, so... salute to you, sir. Salute to you. Like, I'll give you that. I'll give anybody that who wants to take a break right now, because truth be told, like, I just don't feel like it's getting us anywhere. Like, and like this whole show was founded on us talking amongst ourselves, communication. And I feel like that's what we're lacking, especially in the social media era. And I believe that film really brought it to light. So regardless, I wanted to start off with this, Coach. So would you get an app? I'm getting an app that'll literally turn off my phone. And even if I restart my phone, it'll keep my phone locked for hours where I can't use it. Would you do something like that? I can take calls, like if someone calls me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, as long as I can take calls. Yeah, I'm doing the same. I told you too, I do it as I go. I didn't go as like deep as the step that you took, as like just saying I'm like when you made that post or what you're unfollowing everything. I would do something like that, because I am one of those person that could get distracted by my phone, my social media presence and all that, because you see the slower in the things, and then I'll just get in like a Kanye rant and just start posting shit for like, you know what I mean? Like an hour and shit, just all over the place, just funny shit, serious shit, and just going places. And then I go down a rabbit hole, you know what I mean? And then I'm figuring something out. So, yeah, I would do it. You're going to have to shoot me that information. I was unaware that there was something, but that makes sense. That makes sense.
From my research, there's several apps. They all have like their own little like one's just like gives you information, like screen time, just like tells you like how long you've been on your phone. But that's not going to do anything for me. Like I already know the person I am. Like if you just tell me how long I've been on my phone, I'm going to go, oh, wow, that's a lot. And then I'm going to keep scrolling. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm like, oh, man, that's a lot of time. So instead, I'm like, no, I have to like really put like a lock on myself. Or like, even if I want to do it, I have to get rid of it. Do you remember there was like a month or two, bro, where I didn't have a phone? Andy Moyer, what's going on, Andy? Andy from Gateway Stations, great guy. Work with him. I do a lot of work with him and stuff. But anyway, do you remember that time where 2 months? Andy will remember this. I didn't have a phone for like 2 months. And remember, I was telling you, like, I would put my hand in my pocket to grab my phone, even though it didn't exist. It wasn't there. And it was like such an eye-opening experience too. And that's what this film really brought to light, was that psychology. I mean, the psychology at the fundamental level of notifications, at social media, that social media wants to draw you in and keep you scrolling. And basically, its model is to waste time of your life by selling you ads and keeping you on the app.
Yeah, they're for the ad. It's an ad. They're selling ads. They're an ad company. They're an ad company, and they just created the tool to say it's the modern day advertisement company. They just created a tool where they could get everybody to be their clients, the big companies. The big companies don't have to do nothing. They just say, hey man, here's our budget. Here's what we're gonna give you. What can you promise us? And they say, hey man, we got the data, we got the analytics, we can tell what we could sell Dev. We could get this company to Dev, this company to Dev, or this company to Coach, and you know what I mean? Everybody, that the algorithms are breaking it all down, which I think is freaking crazy. What they do, and how they do it, because that movie was like, like the movie part of it too was pretty cool. I liked how they shot it. That's
Mhm.
like I was like when they had a little story going on, and then they would have those people come in that actually built these things. They had the one guy that made the actual like button, which he thinks now is like the poisonous thing he's done in his life is made that like button. You know what I mean? Because people, that's the crack to people. Like that's the mental part of it right there. Is that, oh, I didn't get enough likes. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm in depression. You're going through 7 stages and shit. You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Justin Gower said that we all spend too much time on media. Everyone should spend more time doing creative endeavors. I've accomplished a lot this month alone, not getting into these stupid political Facebook arguments. Yeah, I totally agree. Like I said, I don't think that Facebook arguments and political discussions are stupid, but sometimes I feel like they can be a hit. Like I said, it's just a waste of your time sometimes. Like, I don't think like they're totally useless. I think that there's times where it's appropriate. Like if you see someone that you care about and they're saying something like insane, you have to be like, hey man, like you like pull them aside. But I don't think you have to do it publicly anymore. Like I would. Like I think you could just like you give a call to Uncle Rick and you say, hey, I'm gonna come over to your house later and we're gonna just have a discussion about this. And usually it's a lot easier than talking on Facebook because it gets too confrontational. Mike Lowther says, if it's free, you are the product. Andy Moyer says, okay, help me advertise, dudes. And he says, purpose of your show today. All right, Andy, I'll send you the invoice for this one, okay? So today, guys, we're talking about... Andy Moyer is a CEO and creator of Gateway Stations, which is a mobile high-capacity hand sanitizing station unit that I've been working with him extensively on. They are fantastic units. I mean, if you're any kind of business, I mean, you can put them anywhere, really. If you're a small business, they're affordable. The savings that you'll put on sanitizer will pay for themselves, I assure you, all within probably about 3 months' time easy. You'll get a quick return on investment, and it's a piece of equipment that depreciates, and you'll have it for literally years, so it'll last longer than the crappy little sanitizer thing that you'll get at your business. And I'm sure a lot of you businesses that are out there have COVID money. So, yeah. Andy says check is in the mail.
Launch them out. Launch them out. That's what we do around here. We're trying to build this platform, Andy. We're just crunching the numbers out too to put up some contracts like we talked before, because next year we're going hard at that ad money. We got to get it. And I think that's a point there too, is that with both conversations, with the social dilemma and the contracts, we can do this ourselves. Mm-hmm. It's just doing the work. You know what I mean? Like I always say, I'm selling people your time because what I'm doing is not that difficult that you're paying me to do. You could do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I always tell the customers that. I said, I'm selling you your time, bro. What do you want to do? Like, how you want to do this? So it's one of those things that we need to cut out these big corporations from, just getting all the money from us and start building our own companies to deal with the stuff that we have to do. And I think that's boss move right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin Gower said 99.9% of the time they are pointless, never changed anyone's mind, and no one's changed mine. Yeah, I mean, but I have to disagree because I have had people that have changed their mind. Granted, not in that conversation, but like maybe they'll come back a month or two later and they'll say, hey, like I looked into it, and I think, Coach, didn't you last week say that you had one of these conversations? Oh, no, you said someone actually just came out and said some crazy stuff to you. Never mind. I thought last week you said someone actually came to you and said like, hey, thanks for talking to me. But that was actually someone saying like some crazy stuff.
And, I had it straight. They apologized for the way what they said, though, like how they said it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's one of those things. I've had people, I've changed my mind off some things. That's why I always say what I think that jumped out to me, because I always say this. This is why I keep certain things on my timeline, stuff that I don't agree with, because those algorithms are building you to freak the fuck out when somebody doesn't believe what you're saying, because you're seeing the same thing. So I keep other people that I might disagree with, you know what I mean? And I keep them there to see what they're posting. So at least, like, if I want to go do that research, my mind is not blocked off from it. And that was one interesting point that lady made, is like, if you're not going to see what other people are seeing. You're only going to see the engagements that they see positive for you, so they can sell you whatever's behind that market. So That's why I always keep people around that I disagree with, or some things that might even have interest in me. They're just there. Like I never get you. They're just there. So when I see it, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I change my mind a lot, bro. I change my mind on certain stances I have, but my overall moral fiber is still the same. You can disagree, like this. The reason why we do this show. We can disagree on shit and don't have to freak out on people, bro. And that's what this social dilemma is about.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, well, the social dilemma brought it to the forefront that, like fake news and all that stuff is being pumped out in our news feeds, and it's spreading, rapidly more quicker than a lot of other things. And also, I did want to bring up, Andy asked what we were talking about today, and tonight we're talking about social media and how it sometimes negatively impacts us. Mike Lowther says you need to monetize, Coach. Said his top 8 Facebook followers get Christmas gifts. Because you were saying about people liking your stuff earlier.
Yeah.
You need to monetize so you can get everybody a Christmas gift.
Fast. I gotta get Christmas gift.
But anyway, yeah, and just to add to that, I mean, like, there is so much fake news out there, and like, I don't automatically dismiss everything that I see as fake news when I don't agree with it, because that's a problem that a lot of people have. It's just knowing, I think, and this goes back to like what we need to learn in school. This is like an education thing to me, like this particular part, is that we need to be teaching kids how, like, epistemology, the study of how do you know something's true, like how do you figure that out, and then incorporate it with like the internet. I mean, granted, when I was in school, they taught research skills, but they didn't teach it nearly as enough as they need to now because of how big of like a problem fake news, especially whenever like they admitted and they talked about in that movie where countries like Russia and even like other countries and even America can do it, destabilize other countries, all by going to like some other corporation or nonprofit or whatever, and then saying to Facebook, hey, we'll give you this amount of money to post these kind of ads out. And then they post those ads, and then they can destabilize a whole country because they get a whole country thinking that, there's like this big fight. Like, that's what they brought up the example of Myanmar, a country, Southeast Asia, and how autocratic, dictators basically led to the killing of multiple, thousands of Muslim people, just because they were different than the people in that country. And all they did is use Facebook to run ads. And that's insane to me. It's a weird world to live in. I think we need to have more, we need to be able to educate our people, our young people, about how do they understand that, because I don't think we're going to see a significant change anytime soon in how social media is implemented.
Yeah. They said, well, fake news is 6 times more goes out 6 times more than facts, because it's the facts, like they said, facts are boring.
Yeah, facts are boring. But babies are hilarious,
Right. Those are hilarious. Like, we had that covered. I was just about to say that too. I was going to bring that up. Just imagine if I didn't fact check that, because you pretty much trust what I'm saying. You might have went and did the research and be like, "Oh, Coach, this ain't true." But what if it was one of those days?
I was trusting you to do it because you said you were going to. I was like, all right. Like, I was like, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I was like, I don't know. I was like, but I kind of believe it, like, at the same time. But then after we said it, I was like, how would that even be possible? Like, I really had to think about it for a second. Like, how would that even be possible?
Right. So we could have went out there and just, brought that up. And then I don't want to be that person that spreads just bullshit. I think I got enough talent in what I'm doing to make facts funny. Like, you just gotta give the facts and then find the joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right, exactly.
And just entertain people while they're doing it. Like you said, what's his name? Bill Nye the Science Guy. You know what I mean? He that's why he's so popular, what he does, because he makes it entertaining. Like, if you're giving out a message and you can make it entertaining, you're going to be able to do that. But and that's one of the things also that they touched on too, is like, they said, I don't know why they're saying Russia hacked Facebook. They didn't hack it. They just used it for what it was, just like you said. Went to those companies and said, hey, man, put these ads out. Here's the money to put these ads out. And it affected the election. It obviously did. Nobody hacked anything. They just used the tool.
Right. Or Russia just gave, I mean, it's very simple. I mean, Russia could just give other countries money or other companies money in our country. Like, they can say, here, give this guy some money and then send it to his campaign you know, because we need, we believe in what he needs and what his interests. I mean, it's just, it can happen anywhere. Now here's something I wanted to bring up, because this is something I thought this would be a bridging the gap moment for you and I. So, you know, I am part of Gen Z, which is the last generation before the internet, basically. Like, I am the last generation of people who, I'm one of the oldest people in Gen Z. You know, like, I'm like right there, you know, 1997. And, you know, I was alive during a time where there wasn't internet, and then I grew up, and like now every person, like every child that comes after my generation, right? I mean, they're going to grow up with computers, cell phones, things right in front of their face. You know, like me, like we didn't have smartphones. You know, like this thing the closest thing we had to a smartphone whenever I was probably, you know, like 12, you know, 13, around those prime ages where people were getting the phones. The Razor, you know, which was like a slide up phone and you would text on it like this. And I never got my first cell phone until I was 14, and it was a little flip track phone, you know?
Right.
I didn't even have an iPod. I don't think I got my first smartphone until I was 16. And even then, like, you know, I only really used it to text people and, you know, play games on it. So, but like, and of course post things on Facebook, whatever, social media. But like, I wasn't on it as much as now. Is like, it's like integrated. And I wanted to ask you this question because I thought it was interesting to me anyway. And anybody else in the chat, if you have any questions you want to ask us, please let us know. You know, we'll answer whatever we got. But the question I had for you, Coach, is that, you know, like, when did you start using social media, and like, how did that feel for you? Because especially whenever you were someone who didn't grow up with it, like you were like older, you know?
Yeah, I didn't start using it until I didn't get on Facebook until 2015.
Really?
Only 5 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
My
okay.
Facebook started. How long has Facebook been around?
Facebook's been around since 2008, I want to say.
2008. I think, yeah, bro, I'm from an era where you had a phone on the fucking wall and you had to rope, you had to, you know what I mean? You had a cord on it.
He's going to bring out the old
up in the cord, you know what I mean? Call waiting, you know, you only get one call and somebody can come in if you pay for that extra feature, and you can click over and say, yeah, and go back. I'm from that era, so it didn't catch on me. The thing that I did catch on to quick, but I was running around. If you know my past, I was doing, you know, I was living a pretty bad life. I was in the streets. But when YouTube came out, I knew the power of YouTube when I first seen it. Like, they're saying we can load up free stuff, our content for free onto this site. And I understood what that was, saying all we have to do is put it there and try to find where it needs to go. But I went off into a different direction and never caught up to it. And then Soldier Boy did it. You know what I mean? Joe Button did it. They took advantage of it and made it go into where it's at to now, for a lot of people to understand it in that way. So yeah, I didn't use it until like I said, 2015.
That's crazy, bro. I graduated high school that year. I graduated high school the year you started using social media. That's insane. Like, I had been on Facebook since I was in like 8th grade. So that's nuts to me.
No, let me correct myself. I did make a MySpace in 2009. I didn't use it. I just went on there and said, "Oh, I was wondering why everybody MySpace. Well, what the is MySpace?" And they showed me. I was like, I'll mess around with it. I didn't see.
Were you playing Farmville and shit? Were you playing the little farm games and shit? Do you have like one of those little gardens?
I was just like, I don't have time for this stuff right now. I got things to do. But I wish I did. I wish I knew when it first hit, because I was in that mind frame to do that. Like, I had trap phones, bro. Like, while people, the latest phone that came up, I had throwaway burners that like it was just like a cell phone that I would go put minutes on. You know what I mean? And it didn't have, I didn't even know how to text.
Yeah.
Bro, in like 2000, when was that? Like 2005, 6, when cell phones really started to pop, like when it wasn't as big as a fucking brick. Bro, that's the era I'm from. The cell phone is as big as this water bottle right here, bro. Like,
it's a brick. You had a brick for a phone, basically.
Yeah, a brick for a phone. So yeah, I didn't get up onto social media until late, and I didn't really use it that long. I would say probably like a year before we met is when I really started messing with it, like posting regularly, putting up pictures. Yeah. So it hasn't been long for me.
So like, that brings up another question then, like how do you feel like in those 5 years, like social media has like impacted you, like in your mindset, like your mindset 5 years ago versus now?
In my mindset, I see two things. I'm glad that I'm able to separate things. I see how negative it was for me at times, and I seen how positive it was to me at times, and sometimes over positive, where it would shut me off from learning like facts. Like if it was just like, oh, everything's got to be positive, that's it helped me find a balance. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just glad I'm able to recognize that type of stuff, because I can imagine a lot of people that don't. Like, so it did affect me in that way, where I seen some negatives and then I seen some positives, and I just found the balance. Like we're talking about now is about like how to use it. And like I always say, are we using technology or is it using us?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we know it's designed to use us, but if we use it right ourselves, it could be a benefit for us.
I agree, and I think that's part of the thing that I've been trying to implement these past couple of like months, I guess, is like trying to figure out how do I try and combat the ill intentions of that social media and the business model itself have on for me. How do I limit its effect on me, and then how do I get to use it more as a tool than as it using me?
Right.
Because like political posts and stuff like that. I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, that's how they help drive engagement, because political posts, it gets everybody talking. It'll keep whatever that in that movie that the Social Dilemma. He said like there's a 60% increase. If we post some kind of political ad. He always
Yeah.
responds to political ads, and because I was responding to that, Facebook was like throwing it in my face every 5 seconds, and because of that, it was really taking away my energy, and I'm like. And it wasn't even I mean, it's still my fault, because obviously you have control over that, right? But at the same time, like there is something working against you and your psychology, and it's a lot to try and be smarter than that. Like trying to be smarter than something that's working against you, like a phone, like phone companies and social media companies and advertisers are all like the movie said, are all working on the other side of this phone against you. It's you versus a
Yeah.
team of marketers and all these different social media people. So
Yeah. Yes. And this is what I've learned. Like you're always going to grow. I've learned this also too this past probably like 6 months of me, doing some things with the social media is like I'm no longer I that's why you always see me crack jokes, and I'll put something serious, but I'm just using it for cracking jokes until I'm ready to make a full on slot with what we're doing, my business and all that. And then I'm gonna go with it that I'm still gonna post the funny shit. But I learned this saying: don't try to prove anything, try to improve things.
mm,
You know what I mean? Because that's where all the anger and all the frustration and at each other's neck comes from. I'm trying to prove you my point. You're trying to prove me your point, and we're just at each other. I'm trying. My mind, and I kind of lost this because I always had that, like how the help part. Like, what am I gonna do for my legacy that's left to improve what's already going on? Because if you're trying to prove a point that's already is facts, and somebody doesn't want to accept it, it's going to cause an issue. But how do you improve that fact? You know what I
right.
mean? Like, how do you improve on science or whatever like that? Just, try to improve. So, and that helped me a lot, is just keep saying that. Like, I'm not
Mm.
going to engage with people.
I'm not going to prove it. I'm
Let,
going to improve it. And then and then you're going to try and let your merits and what the information you have, the correct information, speak for itself. Whenever you're talking about something, like you just
yeah,
say,
sometimes I get out of it. Football, like, I can't help myself. Like Melvin
he says,
over there talking shit all the time. I'm always in a group talking shit about
bro,
football. Like,
listen, on a real note, Melv came in here earlier, man, and man down, I tell you what, man, like that is just a bunch of, like, there's so many guys there crying around about basketball, and all I hear about is LeBron James this, LeBron James that, and, I can't be bothered with it. I just listen, there's always so many times you guys can have a discussion about LeBron James before it's like boring, it's like, just talk about anything else, like that's the
you
only time
think,
they talk about
no,
basketball.
that's their group. That's their group. That's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
They're gonna do what their link is. I just go
Well, I'm
over
just
there
saying,
and
every
crack.
time I think about basketball fans, and maybe that's just because it's me, and I have a very surface level understanding of basketball in terms of like the NBA, like, and all the players and their gameplay, because I don't watch a lot of games. But I mean, like, I feel like they don't watch a lot of games either, and they're just like LeBron James, because that's like the easy thing to talk about, and they can just look at his legacy stats. It's like,
No, I think most of them people in there that are having those debates watch that shit.
yeah, you
They
think?
watch that shit, bro. Oh, I know so. I know they do. There's people that do that. That's what they do. If you notice some of their posts, they have like multiple TVs and shit. You know what I mean? If you go in depth of who some of those people, some people do that. That might be their focus on. They want to be a Skip or a Shannon or something like that. They're hoping that's their lane. So you have to watch.
Skip.
Yeah, Skip was bugging last week. Shannon was laughing at him and shit. He was going off. I've never seen him that mad. He was like, "You, Shannon, you." Shannon's just laughing at him. So those are the type of things like those things, like they're a perfect example of it, because they're put there to say you're wrong. Remember how we used to say, "No, you're right. You're wrong, Ev. I'm right."
Yeah.
And you'd be like, "No.
I'm right. You're wrong."
That's what the whole social dilemma is. They want us that. And I think the one final thing that I had to say about that thing is I think everybody should watch it, number one, even though I'm still pissed at fucking Netflix for that Cuties bullshit. But I
have yet to watch that. I said I was going to watch it and give an honest criticism of it, so I need to do that still.
I got some information from somebody that's on my timeline. She's a HBCU. I met her, I don't know. She's a professor. I forget which HBCU, so you got to forgive me. She's a professor down there, and her thing is like talking about abuse, kids being abused, and she doesn't believe in spanking and all that. That's her focus on things. And she said she broke it down to what it was, and she made me think about it and say, should I go watch this? Should I? Should I watch this just to see what it is and maybe get the other part of it of what they're trying to do? I'm still debating that. So, yeah. But the dilemma thing, the thing that I seen, which I'm seeing right now, we're seeing in front of our faces. The last guy, when it was closing out and they asked him, I forgot who he was. I think he was the one that actually started the like button, but he was involved in building this platform.
Oh, right. Yeah. He said the thing that like moved me a lot, and I just can't remember what it was, but.
Yeah, he said they asked him, well, where do you see this going? Like, what's the worst you see this happening? But I want the first thing, like how the quickest thing that's going to happen, how far? And he said civil war. And we're actually seeing this bullshit out here with a lot of stuff that's going on. I don't think it's far off from it, bro.
No. I mean, I definitely think a civil war is always in the realm of possibility. I mean, you got guys like out in the street with guns. Like anytime there's a protest, there's guys out there with guns, there to defend their property or whatever. And they're saying, well, we don't want any trouble, this, that, and the other. And I mean, which is their right. I don't have any problem with that. But I mean, like that goes to show you like where we are as a country, where if when people walk out to protest, demonstrate their right to protest, you have a clan of people that will stand out on their front lawn with assault rifles. Like, all right, like, like, is it about to go down? Like, from both sides. Like, both sides are in a very confrontational state where, like, one of them, they're both got their hand on the revolver, so to speak, like, waiting for the other one, Like, all right, like, when is this going down?
Who's going to make that move? And I think, like, let's be honest, bro. I know we just talked about politics and all that, but I think that this election doesn't go the way it's going to go. There's going to be, like, people want it. There's going to be some problems, like, huge problems.
Yeah.
Like, if people don't want to look at it, people are like, nah, that's not, because I'm already preparing for that. I'm prepping, baby. I'm prepping to be up in the woods.
I knew it. I knew you've been watching all the prepper shit because you've been prepping, bro. I knew it. As soon as you said you were watching The Walking Dead, I said, and then you said you're watching prepper shit. I said, this motherfucker already bought a bunker. Like, he's playing, bro. He ain't even actually about this bridging the gap shit. He's like, he's going to be, in 6 months, he's going to be in a bunker that he built himself, doing, like, Alex Jones podcast on a makeshift Wi-Fi tower. Like, he's on, like, a makeshift Wi-Fi tower. He's going to be like, all right, guys, so I've gotten information from the globalists that tell me that the Confederate risers will be here 3 months from now in the mountains. Just giving out radio signals.
Frogs. I just keep saying the frogs are gay. The frogs are gay. No, bro, but I found that very interesting. I just know that you got to be careful with social media, man. It is crack. It's crack cocaine.
It's booger sugar. Yeah, and I think I had one more thing that I wanted to add. What was I going to say? Oh, so this is a question I had because the end they were talking about solutions, solutions to ethical digestion of social media content. And the one thing they proposed that I thought was interesting, I don't know if I would really, I don't know where I'm at with it, is putting a tax on data caching and mining, meaning that if they, however much information, because that is trackable, however much information that they take from us, they have to pay that back to the government, which would then, you would hope that it would actually go towards like helping, the American people. But, but regardless, it would take money away and it would de-incentivize, or not de-incentivize, but rather it would help limit the amount of on the amount of shit that they can do to us and how much shit they can push on us. Because at the end of the day, we are being used as a commodity, and all we are signing up for is being we're just signing up for an end user agreement. But this in and of itself is kind of like a civil rights movement in a sense, because our rights are kind of being infringed by the amount of data and all the information that we're being taken for. Granted, the problem is that we signed our souls away basically whenever we hit the agreement. When we said, I accept the terms of service, fuck yeah, and you just click it, because who is going to sit there and read something that's going to take,
like we just mentioned about contracts,
like 20, it's going to take you like 20 hours to look through it all, understand it. That's the next part. You can read it, but then you got to understand it, what all of that means legally. And then even then, you're going to be pressured because everybody else is on Facebook. It's like how we all do all of our social interactions. Like, like I can't go over to a girl's house without texting her first. You can't just knock on the door no more, else someone thinks you're fucking crazy. Like, hey, are you home? They're like, stalker. It's like, was like back in the day though, that's not how things went. Like if you ever went to like something like the 1980s, back in that day, what, you went over to go to Timmy's house, you knock on the door. Nowadays, you can't knock on the door. You text Timmy first. Hey, Timmy, are you home? Like 13, 14-year-old boys, doing that shit.
Can I slide by? But yeah, no, I totally agree that they should put some cap on it, incentive. And what just popped up in my head, why I say, again, I'm going to go back to saying it's crack. Just like people say, you chose to use that drug, is the same thing. Like now it's like you chose to use that drug, so you got to choose to get off of it. So it's the same thing with this. You're addicted to it now. Now you have to take the app and uninstall it off your phone and just not use it. But now you're addicted. So it is kind of the same thing. It's addiction. They said that in there. This is a form of addiction for you to be on this stuff. So now it's like, just like you said, we said about the contracts, we said about the agreement. You signed up for it. You're going to have to just do some of the things that we mentioned. They need to take responsibility. I think that tax great, but we need to take responsibility, like you said, with the time thing that you're using on your phone, and say, I gotta get clean. I gotta get sober. I gotta get sober off of social media.
And sometimes willpower just isn't enough. Do you know what I mean? Because you really are addicted. I mean, like, you really are. And I don't think willpower is enough. That's why I had to get this app, and I told myself I'm gonna put this thing on, and I'm gonna, like, if I have to work on something, I'm turning it off for, like, I'm gonna start with maybe 6 hours out of my day. Turn it off.
Yeah, make sure you send me that link when we're done. Yeah, I want to check that out.
Because then I'll just, and then I just have to, like, I can't look at anything else. I could maybe cheat and go to my computer if I wanted to, which I don't really like to do. But then I won't be getting dings on my phone all the time. Ding, 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 ding. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Ding, 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 ding,
and then
ding, ding, ding,
because I can tell you, just based off of like my day to day, there was probably times where I heard a click or a ding, and then that led to me being on my phone for 5 to 10 minutes. And derailed me from everything I was doing.
And it, like the one lady was explaining, the euphoria of it, the dopamine. We're getting dopamine from them dings.
Yeah.
Like, ding, oh my God, let me go see what it is. And then it's either, oh, that's cool, your dopamine, you get that fix, or it was something negative and you're like, oh man. So now it turns into, which one is it when you hear that ding? Is it good? I hope it's good. I hope it's good. That type
just
shit.
like slot machines. Just like slot machines. That's what they said.
It's all things. And I think you just need to do things like you're saying, is like put yourself on a timeout on some things, man. And there's nothing wrong with that, because self-will, like, and I did have a conversation with somebody about this probably like a year ago when I was trying to get people on for talk about addiction, because they were saying addiction's a choice. Addiction's a choice. It's all your fault. I said, yeah, it's your choice when you pick it up. But it's like you just said, the willpower ain't coming in until you get sick. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Now, I said to them, because they were a big poster. You know, they were the ones that like, here, look at my picture and look how many likes I got. They're all worried about that. And I said, now, put that down for a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they were like, oh, well, I'm not addicted to it. I could do it. Yeah, okay.
Okay, put it down.
Try
it. Put it down for a month.
Yeah, put it down. And they were like, no, I'm not. I don't have to prove that to you.
Exactly. I don't have to prove nothing to you. That's just like someone who smokes weed, like or smokes weed or drinks beer or smokes crack or something or coke or what. I don't have to prove anything to you. I can quit whenever I want. Okay, do it right now for like a month. I don't have to prove anything to you. You know, and the people want to make that same argument. I mean, anything with enough with a lack of moderation can be addictive. You know, I mean, like we've talked about many times, like, you know, pornography, eating couch cushions, you know, like we've all seen Mind Strange Addictions, you know, so having sex with your car, yeah, like all that shit. Yeah, you can have some messed up shit.
Eating drywall. I had a cousin that would eat drywall. Like it was
that's
an addiction.
Insane.
Like yeah, like he would hide and eat drywall, and nobody knew what that was about.
That was like, there's people like geophages. There's people like eat rocks and shit and dirt.
Yeah,
imagine like eating a rock. How do you do it?
How do you fucking do it? Yeah, I just suggest, like Justin said earlier, you just got to do some more creative things. Go outside, man.
Go outside.
Yeah,
I know that's going to be hard here soon, you know, like within 2 months, it's going to be like, holy jumping shitballs. I want to stay inside, you know, but.
Oh yeah, it's going to get cold, but I mean, do creative things. Look at your creativeness and try to find something to, you know, put down, and then probably use that. Cause I've been thinking about that since you brought it up. It's like, I want that app. I want to say, yeah, coach, you set up a schedule, say, you know, because I've been working on that too. I'm setting up schedules to do certain things at certain times on certain days, get up at a better time, eat better, just a whole bunch of better things, self-improvement. And I think that would be the thing that says, yeah, coach, you can't speak on your phone at this time to this time, or, you know, you can't hop on social. Yeah, you can't do none of that shit. And I think that would be very helpful. So I think do some of those things. So what else we got, bud?
Well, I did want to bring this up just because I think it's pretty interesting. Now, I tested it. So according to executive order, which this is, I think this whole story is just interesting because Donald Trump passed an executive order, which he's allowed to do because of the fact that we were in a state of emergency because of COVID. And he can say that TikTok is a threat to national security. And there's even all that. I remember the other thing I did want to talk about. And also too, Trump's also leveraging, because it is a state of national emergency. He has gotten the DOJ to list certain cities in this country as anarchist. New York City, Portland, yeah, and all those places. And because of that, them saying that they are that status, he is taking money away from them, like government-funded money. I was like, how fucking petty you gotta be, my guy? How petty? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay.
Hey, let me guess.
What's that?
They're all blue cities, all blue states.
Oh, absolutely, right? Absolutely, full blue cities, absolutely. And this is the crazy shit. It's like, and you have the government or the governor of New York who's just like this. He's like, this will get shot down in the courts. He said, because this is literally like criminal. But that's besides the point. The thing I want to talk about was the TikTok thing, because I thought it was so funny. It was like he passed the executive order. He said no one's allowed to download it after Sunday. Well, today I got on and I just tested it. I just wanted to test it to see if it was true. I got the app. It's Monday. So what happened? Like, did they not get it to the app stores yet? Like the executive order was to go into effect yesterday. But
I think I've seen something, but TikTok actually sat down and decided to play that role at this particular time. Is that there's he as grandiose as this motherfucker is, was like, I sat down and approve of the deal that's on the table for TikTok to join
Microsoft. That's what I was going to lead up to, is that Microsoft and a couple other companies are in the bidding to buy the American branch of TikTok. That way they can filter the information and make sure it's not going back to China. But again, like I've brought this up many a times. I think it's just so interesting to me that they have to play these national security games, but yet Facebook can literally be in every country, everywhere, and face none of these repercussions for that. Actually, like they said in Myanmar, they would install the Facebook app on their phones and then
Yes.
and then open it for them, and then people would get a cell phone their first time using it, and the only thing they knew how to open was Facebook.
Yes. And something tells me this arises from, wasn't it the TikTokers that screwed over when he came out in the COVID thing, that screwed his first rally up when the numbers weren't right?
Oh right, yeah, they were like trolling him and shit.
Yeah. Is it that petty? You think? I think he's that petty, bro.
I think he is. I think since that happened, they're a threat to national security, and we have to do everything to stop them. Okay.
Those TikTokers, get those 14-year-olds that screwed up my
election numbers with their memes. Yeah, right. Well, I think that's part of it. I think that is. But also, there's a lot of like socialist stuff on there too, you know. And that's also not it either, because there's a lot of, you know, white nationalist Republican bullshit on there too. Because my dad is like one of those people. Like he's on TikTok watching that shit. Like he was there at work on TikTok watching like all these political, you know, like it's there. Like it always exists everywhere. Like you can't get away from one side or the other. They're both there. What's that?
Did you just say your dad's a white nationalist?
No, but that stuff, like those things are there. Like those talking points are there. Do you know what I mean? Like he'll be sitting there scrolling and I'll hear it, because that's how it usually works. Like you don't just become, unless like you grew up in a very racist, you know, environment, like you don't just become a white nationalist. What happens is like you follow like a bunch of Republican things, and then you go, okay. And then you gradually get more to the right, you know, as you keep watching shit, because there's more.
Then you get pissed off. It's the same thing with the left. It's the same thing with them Antifa motherfuckers that are going too far. Same thing. Same tactics everybody's using. They just don't want to admit it's on both sides.
Yeah.
So, no, I totally agree.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's like how you get to extremism is that, especially with social media, is like there's a slow drift, and you don't even realize it until you're there. When you're over here and you're over there and you're like, wait a minute, like this person is like not even a human anymore compared to where I'm at over here, like because of how far they've just drifted apart. They've totally forgotten about their commonalities, like being a person and like, you know, eating food and shit every day and like having to like pay your bills. They totally forgot about that.
Yeah. You just get crazy about that shit. But there's another thing though too about just sticking with that thing. That dude that he elected, they're trying not to let anybody vote for Joe. They're trying to do everything they can to stop that Joe Biden from voters. He elected that dude to be the head of the whatever
UPS,
the fucking UPS, and
or USPS.
USPS. They took out all these drop mailboxes and sorters in all the blue states. We're talking like
right. And if you want to know something crazy, where I'm at, you know, it's very red. I've seen those mailboxes appear, more of them, new ones.
Oh, are they taking them out of? Are they taking them out of the blue states and putting them in the red states, like 5 on each corner?
I don't know. It could be one of those, you know, that word, that conspiracy word. It could be one of those. But I'm not saying that they are. All I'm saying is, if that is the case, all I know is this from my experience where I'm at right now. There are more of those mailboxes in my town. Drop boxes. There are more of them now. Like there weren't like I was going for a run the other day and I just saw a brand new one. And I saw like 2 brand new ones just put in where there weren't ones before. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, like I think that's a little interesting. Maybe, of course, like I said, the government gave money because they know more people are going to vote by mail. That they need to put those out. They got money, and they're like, hey, you have to put new mailboxes out. I get that. But at the same time, on the flip side of that coin, if the other part is true, that the mailboxes in blue states and blue cities are being taken away.
There's something there. We're on to something.
We're on to something. Maybe we got to start doing the story. Maybe we got to get the inside scoop, you know, and really dig into it.
Got to do a little conspiracy.
Pay our journalist friends out there in New York. Maybe we'll go talk to Karen and tell Karen, hey, Karen, take a break from your sex cast there for a minute. And
we got a scoop.
Yeah, I need you to say it this
TikTok.
loud, all right? Karen, I need you to say it this real loud for me. Like, how many mailboxes are being taken away in New York? You got to let us know.
We know the scoop. Yeah, and stick on that. Yeah, I think that's very interesting. I don't know what I think TikTok is putting in a situation now where they're saying, "Hey, man, it's like I think they're being strong armed. To me, it's the mob. It's mob tactics. It's saying, hey, you're not gonna pay us to protect or pay us to do what we want you to do or how we want you to do it. We're taking your company, basically.
Right. Or they're banning it. They're banning it from a market. They're saying you can't TikTok in America.
Put it in America.
But the thing is, even if they ban TikTok and you can't download it anymore, they can't get rid of it off your phone. So that means you could still use it if you already downloaded it. So I have it now. Granted, I'm not going to use it, but I have it now for that particular reason.
But that's got to be powerful because they're counting on new users.
Yeah.
Like they're counting on new users every day. You know what I mean? To keep growing it because you got people that are probably like every day there's people that are saying screw TikTok. Okay, we need new users. We need new users, new sets of eyes to sell shit to, or to use our app or whatever like that. So yeah, it's all a bunch of bullshit. I'll be so glad when this shit's over, man. When November 3rd comes, and that's going to be extended because they're gearing up right now to use every legal action they have not to leave that motherfucker until the court
say gotta get out.
You gotta go, or
they win the election.
Yeah, he's one of the two. So it's weird. Well, to stick on just on that thing, I seen something interesting, and it could go into our last topic too because they're saying, which I think is a great idea, is that Joe Rogan should host a debate between Biden and Trump. I think that would be not that Fox guy that they had that he did the interview. He was tough on him, but we still know that I would like to see Joe Rogan. I think he would ask some good fucking questions. Some you got to answer this. No softballs, anything to both of them.
Because that's what happens with every interview I ever watch of Donald Trump or Joe Biden. They ask him a question. Softball. If they don't have an answer, they dodge it, and then they just keep moving. Like, I would love to see a debate, or not even just a debate, but a discussion, where, like, even if it took them 12 hours to get them to admit to one thing, that's obviously hyperbole, but, like, if it takes them 20 minutes to look at them every time they don't answer the question, say, that doesn't answer the question. The question was this. What is your answer? Even if it took them like 20 minutes, because they never do that. Every time I watch an interview, they ask Donald Trump a question, he answers it with something that does not answer that question at all, period. And then I'm like, holy fuck. Like, it's like, why are we even watching it? I feel like there's no point to watching that conversation. And I think you're right. If you could get an alternative news media that isn't Fox, isn't one of these other places. Hey, Shaylee just popped in and said agreed. Shaylee, what's up? She totally agrees with that. Yeah, like, if we could get some kind of debate like that, I'm here for that. I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too. Also, because I think it's going to be a shit show, and just add to the fucking circus, put Dave Chappelle in there too.
Put Dave Chappelle.
Have Dave come in like break it up in like a 4-quarter game, and then have Dave come in after they do 1 quarter and just start fucking cracking jokes on him. Like,
right, you know what Dave. I mean? Maybe get Jamie Foxx in there too, or fuck, who would be something else would be funny? Bill Burr. Get Bill Burr in there. Get Bill Burr and get Dave Chappelle in there. That would be funny as hell.
Yeah, but let's just turn it into a complete circus that it's already is. But I'm here for it, bro. I'm here for them two sitting down and just going at each other. It's gonna be hilarious, bro. I'm telling you, we're gonna get some memes, some crazy memes out of that one. Some crazy ones.
Like I said, I'm still thinking we're not gonna get our debate. That's how I'm feeling right now.
You think they're good? I don't think they want Biden to debate. I know Trump wants to. Yeah. He wants to.
Yeah, Trump wants to debate. I mean, to me, they're both really bad debaters. That's just me. Because I don't think Joe is kind of like thrown up there as like a sock puppet to me. Like, I don't feel like he has like any of his own original ideas. He's just going off the platform. And I think Donald's a bad debater because he never answers anything because he doesn't want to answer. Dev, where were it's kind of being like bullied to vote for one person in particular? Wait, hold on. Hold on. Let me read that again. Shaylee said, Dev, it's kind of being like bullied to vote for one person in particular. I don't know what you're trying to say there. You'll have to like rephrase that. I have no idea what you're trying to say, and we are getting close to the end of the show, so you might want to make it quick. But regardless, I'm guessing they mean like you're being bullied to vote in a two-party system. Is that what you're talking about? Because
yeah,
I think maybe that's what it is, and I agree, But at the same time, like, yeah, it's like this is the world. Like this is the thing I hate is like, unfortunately, this is the world I live in. Like, even if I want to go vote third party, the larger powers at stake will strong arm my hand. And if I do, I will be giving the greater evil more power, And the only way to like feel like it feels like I can change things is over a period of time by casting my vote to a party that more aligns with my beliefs, and the hopes that party will change. Because again, in the 50s, the Democratic and Republican parties switched,
Yeah.
Their whole platform switched. Like how the Republicans are now, the Democrats were 100 years ago, almost 70 years ago. And it's the same concept. So like, that's all you can hope for is like you vote for the party that at your time aligns with your political and your personal beliefs. And then in the hopes that they will slowly transform and more align with those over time. And the only way you can do that is by voting, getting a base of ideas that together with like your people and getting a lot of people to agree with your ideas and then push for that in those parties. It's the only way to do it. It's a process.
And the thing that I've always said, like, I don't believe like the system was designed for people that sat when the forefathers made it up, were sitting in that room, they were arguing. And they said, okay, well, forget it. You're a Democrat and that side's Republican. You're already split from the door. How are we running a democracy when you can win by electoral votes? The majority ain't voting.
Mm-hmm.
It should just be the majority. I don't understand why they say, well, that's so one party can't rule. It doesn't make any sense if you just flat out say, these are candidates. Strip all that fucking donkey or whatever the fuck, the elephants or whatever the signs are for those things. Makes no sense to me. Strip it and say these are the candidates.
Yeah. Well, here's what I will say. I think the reason why that they have the Electoral College is because you have people that are we really do got to wrap up the show. I'm going to say this last thing, and then if you have anything else, then we got to wrap it up. But anyway, because the Raiders are playing in 15 minutes. Anyway. The Raiders are going to kick some Saint ass tonight, especially because they ain't got Michael Thomas. Actually, I am looking forward to it. Even if we don't win, I just want to see them play a really good game against a really good football team. But regardless, I derailed my whole train of thought. Look at that. See? Oh, the Electoral College, right. Hey, look, we're back on track. Ding, ding. Yeah, so anyway, Electoral College.
Help me understand that a little bit.
Because I think this is what I believe it to be. And I still don't think it's quite right, but it's that they would never, ever, ever, ever campaign and go to the needs of the people that live out here where we live, like where I live, like right now, out here, because the majority of the populations live in eastern and western coast cities. The Middle West would be like, forget about it, like they might come to the Midwest a little bit, but because the majority of the population doesn't exist out there, they wouldn't go out and market to those people. All political doings would be held in cities because that's where the majority of the populations sit. Now, granted, I do tend to believe that the amount of the population, the general amount of population, is concentrated in cities, and it deserves that because I think cities probably have more highly educated people. They have, and they have a better understanding of things. Like we shouldn't appeal to the people that out because I think the people in New York City aren't all idiots, and they do know that, hey, we do have to do things for agriculture. Like, they know about what happens out here in the rural areas. Like, I don't think like they're voting against any of that. If anything, they're probably for it. They want farmers markets. They hate having to buy everything from Walmart. Cities are probably more pro small business than than smaller rural towns are, because I feel like there's probably more small businesses in a city than there are in rural areas. And you could quote me on that, because I think there's more Walmarts, there's more Kmarts in rural areas, because you need big stores that have everything because you live out in the middle of nowhere.
You gotta go. We gotta go into town to the WalMarts. That's what some of people
right.
say.
And whereas in a city, you have to diversify and you have to have multiple avenues of small business, because if like you have to be different to be successful. It requires innovation in a city. So I think that you're going to have actually more pro small business people in cities than you would out here, which you have people out here that defend big corporations all the time and all that stuff. So that's, I don't know, that's my take on the Electoral College. Granted, I still think that, you know, I don't really like it. I don't really like the idea of electoral, but
I don't know. Maybe I'm not looking at it too bright. I get what you're saying about why they do it. Like the people in the smaller areas just wouldn't get their needs met or be heard. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's but that's also a big power too. We just seen it happen. Like that's a pretty big fucking power that they used.
Because you're giving too much power, I feel like, to a lesser amount of people that live out, you know, in rural areas. That's what I think. Yeah.
Yes. So okay. Sounds gravy. I hope the Raiders get trashed. You know I had to give it to you.
Oh yeah, I did give it to you. I said go Giants led to last stream, so you know it's fair. It's all fair in love and war, baby. You know how it goes. Yeah. But hey, if you guys are still out there and you haven't already, please leave a like on the stream. Leave any comments or any questions or concerns or anything you want us to talk about maybe on a future episode. If you haven't already, like the Bridging the Gap Facebook page. Also like our YouTube page, our YouTube channel. Go and subscribe over there. Hit the little bell, get the little ringy thingy, and, you know, get all the notifications. You know, as we're sitting here, listen to us. We're perpetuating it right now. We're perpetuating the social media. We're like, hit the bell, get the notifications.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're the ding.
We're perpetuating this. We're like, we sat here and just had like a whole talk about how bad social media is, and like how it's like controlling people, and, you know, like it's trying to like control all your attention and time. And then here we are like, hey, by the way, maybe you should, you know, maybe like subscribe and like watch like for a couple hours, you know? Mm-hmm. So
get the dig. But just know that when you use the thing that Deb said, the app, just make sure you put some time in for the Bridging the Gap show around that time, right?
Right, yeah. Just don't make it at 7 o'clock Eastern time, okay? Just like put it for any time before that.
Right.
All right, guys, we are out of here. As always, stay beautiful, take care of yourselves, and have a great night. See ya.